Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Kodintai Maipur Sacha Bhagavan Ki Jai. Shri Prabhupada Vatita Pavana Ki Jai. Jai Gaura Premanande.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Korantai Mahaprashashi Ki, Shri Prabhupada Ki, Tagore Premanande.
Nityananda ki, Shrimati Vrinda Devi ki, Shri Tulsinath Maharaj ki, Shri Shalagram Shilaji ki. So today is, you okay? Can we hear us all right? We used to do this, well, first of all, welcome everybody. Thanks a lot for coming. And this festival which we're celebrating today, it used to be a 3-day festival. And when we're able to, then I will resume that 3-day festival thing again. So, thanks everyone for coming along, and please stay through to the end where there'll be a nice artian feast. The cooks are cooking at the moment for the deities. So today we're going to be celebrating, first of all, we'll be celebrating the inauguration of the worship of the Shalagram Shilas. On the altar here we see one Govardhan Shila next to Lord Chaitanya, and to the right we have Sri Tulsinath, and just in front is Lord Nrsingadev. These are two of the many Shalagram Shilas. We have a small temple. Just at the back we have a place called Vishnu Lounge. You can see that sign. If you go into the Vishnu Lounge, you can see through the window Srimati Vrinda Devi and the many Shilas that are there. And also Srimati Vrinda Devi, it's the anniversary of her installation. And although Lord Nityananda's appearance was on Friday, then we're celebrating it today because probably some of you were working on Friday. And it's more convenient to do these festivals on a Sunday. So we had some kirtan there with Ishan Pip, Panchatattva, and whoever else was there that I never seen when I wasn't here. Is Mangala Vaishnava here also? Did he do some kirtan? And so I'll just speak a little bit about the rest of the program. So I'm going to speak a little bit about the Shaligram Shilas and where they come from, the importance of worshipping them, etc. And then Vaidehi will give a bhajan on the next section of the festival, which is Vrinda Devi Ashtakam, the 8 prayers glorifying Srimati Vrinda Devi. And then Ashish Prabhu will give a talk about Srimati Vrinda Devi. I'll also speak a little bit just before I start my Shaligram talk, just to give a little background on the actual Vrinda Devi deity. And at 5:05, there'll be a kids group doing a dance here in the temple. And Hoksha Prabhu will give a talk on Lord Nityananda's mercy. So although Lord Chaitanya is known as Mahavadanya Avatar, the most merciful incarnation, then Lord Nityananda is considered to be even more merciful than Lord Chaitanya. And we'll let Hoksha tell you why. And then also Avani will be singing a bhajan Nitai Padakamala, another bhajan by Arohi Akrod Paramananda, a talk by Sri Ram, and then we'll sing the Dalalera Gita bhajan. And then finally we'll have Gora Arti and Prasadam Feast. So Dilip is tending to the shop today. If anybody would like to see what's new in the shop, there is quite a lot of new items in the shop. So I'll just speak a little bit. Although Ashish is going to talk about Vrinda Devi, the importance of Vrinda Devi in the spiritual world, etc., then I thought I would just speak a little bit about Srimati Vrinda Devi deity, who is here. So the deity of Srimati Vrinda Devi at Krunabhavan is the first deity of Srimati Vrinda Devi outside of India, unknown to some people. She's here by the mercy of her great devotee Ratnaranjini Devi Dasi, a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So when we came to Krunabhavan in 1986, we got this at the end of 86, this place, officially opened in Gorpurnima 87. And right from the beginning, Mother Ratnaranjini was cultivating Tulsi from seed. And they say that Tulsi grows where there's devotion. So it came to the point where we actually had 1,000 Tulsis here. There was one winter which was very harsh in Vrindavan. They hardly had any Tulsis, and I think there might have been more Tulsis here in Scotland at that time. Not so practical, though, being one of the coldest temples around. So anyway, at that time, all the greenhouses which you see down the hill were full of Tulsis and nothing else. That's what they were built for. So it's come to the point where every year we're foreseeing we'd have to build another Tulsi greenhouse and bigger than the last one. So that wasn't so sustainable. And Vrinda Devi, she kind of managed herself for our convenience. So from the beginning, generally when people grow Tulsi Devi, she'll maybe last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. But some of the ones we had were like 8 feet tall, and they were 17 years old. And at the start of the pandemic, we did a big yajna where we offered so many the remains of so many past Tulsis to this fire. It was quite an amazing, auspicious event for anyone who was there. It was just really was out of this world. The atmosphere was very palpable. So whenever Srimati Radharani whenever Ratnaranjini was in India, she would visit Vrindakund and Vrindavan. Unfortunately, she passed away in 1994 due to a brain tumour, and then the Scottish Temple paid to rebuild the temple of Srimati Vrinda Devi at Vrindakund in honour of Ratnaranjini's devotion to Srimati Vrinda Devi. Shortly after, if I get my facts right, shortly after that temple was built, then some thieves or dacoits broke into the temple of Vrinda Devi and stole the deity. Sometimes these dacoits or bandits, they think that the temple's deities are made of gold, etc. They have some precious metals, so sometimes they steal them. Obviously, they don't see the deity at all as the deity. So anyway, that deity was found discarded and broken And Devi Shakti, she commissioned Murti Wala, who's the guy who, just like you get a rickshaw wala, you get a Murti Wala. Or if anyone's from Arbroath, there's a laundrette called Adobe Wala, which is the name for a laundrette in India. Yes, so she commissioned the carving of a new deity to be installed in the temple of Vrindakund, but she wasn't happy with the result, and she commissioned a second one, which is now installed there. And because of the Scottish Yatras' assistance in rebuilding and renovating that whole area, then she offered the other Vrindadevi to Krunabavan, and we accepted. And one amazing artist from Hungary, Tara Lakshi, she was set with the task of recarving and repainting this Vrindadevi. And if you go next door, you'll see the amazingly beautiful result of that work. So I'll just finish with this a little bit here. So there was a great devotee of Srimati Vrindadevi who lived at Vrindakund, thank you, and his name is Madhava Baba, and he was being assisted by one ISKCON devotee called Murlidhar. That's right, Murlidhar. And so this devotee Murlidhar was hearing from Madhava Baba that in order to enter into Vrindavan, the eternal Vrindavan, then you have to get the mercy of Vrindadevi, because Vrindavan, the van of Vrinda. So he, maybe it's she in eternal, but he anyway. He was hearing this sometime, and he says, well, so what does it mean to get the mercy of Vrindadevi? And he says, go preach Harinam in the Western world. So here we are in the Western world with a very viable opportunity to get the mercy of Vrindadevi by engaging in the pastime Lord Chaitanya to fulfill his prophecy to spread the holy names in every town and village. So normally with this talk on the Shalagram Shilas, then we just put the slides up here and I just talk as we go along. But on this occasion, I just prepared a little bit more about the background of Shalagrams, where they come from, etc. And then we can quickly go through the slides and hopefully it will mean something a bit more. Okay, I'm supposed to finish at 25 to. Pip, you can give me that one. I've got 2 minutes, all right? I'll wrap up. Okay, if you want to put any of the pictures up at any time, then you can do. So today I'll just read what I've written. Today we celebrate the inauguration of the worship of, at that time actually we had over 12,000 Shalagram Shilas. There's a reason for that, which I can tell you in a minute. That was in 1999. We don't see the installation, just like normally when you have a deity anniversary, it's the anniversary of their installation or the Murti Stapan. But we didn't install because Shalagram doesn't require to be installed. Govardhan Shila doesn't require to be installed. They're already known as self-manifesting forms of the Lord. And there are two ways to worship Shalagram. Does anybody know the two ways? Or any one of them? Yeah, these are more the details. There's two methods of approaching. That's detail also. Sakama and Ajkama. Sakama and Akama, yep, that's right. That's the answer I was looking for. The other answers are also correct. These are different means of worshipping the Lord. So Sakama means what? What does Kama mean? Desire. So with desire, it means that we're worshipping. So these different shalagrams or stones, which you'll find in the River Gandaki in Nepal, you will come to that in a bit. Then they have different markings, and according to the Vedic literatures, these different markings denote that they are a particular incarnation of the Lord. And if you're a Sakama worshipper, or someone who's worshipping for a particular purpose, then you would worship a particular form of the Lord for that particular purpose. And there's many very strict rules and regulations, and you have to get everything right. And the thing with, they say, with worshipping different deities, like Kodnitai Prishashi, they're most merciful, they don't see offense. That doesn't mean to say we can think, okay, good, don't need to worry about my offenses, let me do loads. They don't see offense because they're trying to give us the opportunity to advance. Radha and Krishna, they see, I think you get the reaction for your offences up to 85%, and Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, I think it's 50%. With Shalagram, it's 100% reaction, so you don't want to be a casual worshipper of Shalagrams. So when you're doing Sakama worship, then you have to do everything very particular. And that's not really what the worship of Krishna is about. And then another one is Akama, which means without desire for personal gain and simply for the pleasure of the Lord. So this is Bhakti. This is the way we approach. So Srila Prabhupada, just like in the beginning of ISKCON, Prabhupada wanted the devotees to chant 64 rounds a day. And they said, oh, can't do that. And he says, okay, 32. So we can't do that either. He says, okay, minimum 16. So he made the deal with Krishna. Okay, if they follow those 4 rules and chant 16, then he said, okay, that's it, no less. So Prabhupada was our broker. And similarly, when the devotees first came across Shalagrams and they were talking about worshipping them as Vishnu, Prabhupada says, worship as Krishna. And he says, oh, but Shastra says this. He says, I'm saying Krishna. So he's brokering that any Shalagram, regardless of what normally they would be, whether it's Matsya, Varaha, Nrsimha, Damodar, Vasudev, you can worship as Krishna. The Vaishnava can do that because their worship is akama, or without personal desire. And that worship can be very, very simple. At the same time, it is strict. One has to be strictly following the 4 rules, chanting the rounds, and one should also be second initiated. So this the spiritual master is able to do this, especially the acharya like Srila Prabhupada. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in the Ohe Vaishnava Thakur Bhajan, he says, Krishna se tomar, Krishna diti paro, Tomara Shakati Achi. Krishna is yours, you're able to give in to me, for such is your power. Tomara Shakati Achi. So the spiritual master, he's able to make such decisions, and therefore by his mercy we're able to worship Krishna in this form. And the Lord is very kind. So in this form of worship, then we reap the best benefit, which is love of God. The Lord is kind to his pure devotee. By following the footsteps of the pure devotee, then we're also getting the results of that, which is love of God. So, okay, we can ask the second question. So it's very simple to worship Shalagram. How do we worship Shalagram? Abhishek with what? 108 substances? Ganges water, Tulasi, yep. And massage is part of the snan, the Abhishek. Ganges water and Tulsi. Anything else? Somebody said it earlier on. Kirtan. Yeah, so Shalagrams are very fond of hearing Kirtan and Bhajan. And so Ganges water, because we may not have like a regular source of Ganges water, then we can chant the mantra Gange Chai, Manuchaiva, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmade, Sindhakavari, Jalasmin, Sanidam, Kuru, and we can invoke the 7 sacred rivers, including the Ganges, into the water. We do a certain mudra, and we use a Brahmin thread, and we chant this mantra 3 times, and invoke the sacred rivers into that water, and in that way, the Ganges is there. And because this worship is a very simple, then anyone, regardless of their financial situation, they don't have to be very opulent. They can worship. All they need is some devotion to grow some tulsi, some Ganges water, some kirtan, and of course we can offer other things like flowers, etc. So Shalagram and Tulsi are like Lakshmi and Narayan. Whenever Tulsi is there, then Shalagram is satisfied, just as when Narayan and Lakshmi are together. And Gandaki, the river Gandaki, where the Shalagram comes from, is a great devotee of the Lord. Another aspect of Shalagram puja or worship is that it's called Nitya Puja. So when one starts this puja, we shouldn't stop it. Therefore, it's required to be very serious before we start. It's not for whimsical persons. If we just think, wake up one day, think, oh, I fancy worshipping Shalagram, and then next week, oh, I can't be bothered, then don't start. We can only stop if there's something much more pressing or important regarding serving the Lord. And it shouldn't be taken up as a fashion. Sometimes people get into worshipping Shalagrams for a while and it becomes a bit of a pose. And they get into this Shalagram collecting mode, which is not the way to do things. No, we shouldn't be collecting Shalagrams like football cards and swapping them around. Well, I've got one of these, and you've got a Nrsimha, I've got 2 Varahas, I'll give you one Nrsimhas for your 2 Varahas. And that's not really how we should be doing it. That's it is a way, but it's not the best way, because it's not treating the Lord in the best way possible. And also, we shouldn't be putting mundane estimations on the collectible value of one form over another and swapping them like that. Plus, the Yuga Dharma for this age is what? Harinam Sankirtan, so that's the main thing. So the puja should be to enhance our devotion and service attitude to serve the Lord's purpose and not to replace it. It shouldn't be like serve and swerve. So some deities in the world have what's called a Shalagram Hara. Does anyone know what a Shalagram Hara is? Or a Mala? Mala means... so Shalagram Hara is a necklace, yeah. Anyone been to Nrsimha Kshetra in Bavarian Forest? So there we see the deity of Navajyada and Nrsimha Kshetra. We see that deity there. He has a Shalagram Hara, Shalagram necklace. The devotees, they made this thing of silver where little lockets with many Shalagrams are hung over the neck of Lord Nrsimhadev. And this is where some of the Scottish collection started. To begin with, we had one Sheila. Does anybody name that Sheila? Who? Somebody said something. All right. Yeah, Karuna Sindhu. I thought I heard it, but I wasn't sure. Karuna Sindhu is the name of the original Sheila. And Karuna Bhavan is named after that deity. So, Shalagram fact. When Srila Prabhupada was in South India touring, then one devotee, the head of the Sri Sampradaya, gifted Srila Prabhupada this deity of Sri Karuna Sindhu for Shalagram and ISKCON. And Srila Prabhupada gave to his personal servant Pradyumna to worship, who gave to Jayatirtha, who worshipped for many years, who gave to Balabhadra, who still worships. And that deity was our main focus of worship here at Karuna Bhavan for many years. Though not a public deity, then it was our focus, and we named the place after that deity. And so we worshipped that deity from around 86 until 1996 when Kodnitai Mahaprashashi came on Ram Navami. And it's interesting, the name Karuna Sindhu. This deity of Karuna Sindhu was known as Anrana Ram or King Ram Sheila. And there's quite a connection between, of course, we have Sadbhuj form of Lord here, Lord Chaitanya, with the arms of Lord Ram and Krishna. And this deity of Karuna Sindhu was King Ram, Sheila. So when we got the opportunity for Kodnitai Mahaprabhu Shashi to come, they arrived on Ram Nome. And Lord Chaitanya is also known as Karuna Sindhu or Kripa Sindhu, Ocean of Mercy. So we can see they're one and the same, manifesting at different times and according to their own will. So as I was saying earlier, Shalagram is very happy to receive Tulsi Devi. It said that one who offers 108 or 1,000 Tulsis can be released from all types of difficulty. So we're saying that previously we had 1,000 Tulsis here at Kruna Bhavan, and on this annual festival we would offer, at that time we had over 12,000 Sheilas, so we'd offer over 12,008 Tulsis twice in the day. We had one big silver bowl, which Paul and Carol kindly donated, which we still have and we use on this festival still. And at that time, Sri Tulsi Nath on the far right would be placed in that big bowl on top of 12,000 and odd Tulsi leaves, which was a lot of picking of Tulsi. And then he'd be offered a feast, including over 12,000 sweets, with one Tulsi leaf for each of those sweets as well. So that was quite an offering. So a lot of auspiciousness for the devotees doing all those services at that time. So the worship in Kruna Bhavan is done through Sri Tulsinath. He is known as the Pradhan Sheila. So although we have many Sheilas next door in the other little temple, then the worship, everything is offered through him. All the bhoga we offer and the other upachars or items of worship are offered through Sri Tulsinath. And it's even more auspicious when it's done in this way, and it's also much more simpler. So a quick story on the whole Shalagram thing. How did they come about? So at one time, there was one great devotee of the Lord who desired to become the consort of Vishnu. So she took birth and she was married to one asura or demon called Shankachuda. That's right. And this Shankachuda was actually in Krishna Leela, he was in the eternal spiritual world. Sudam. I think it's Sudam, isn't it? He was cursed by Srimati Radharani for something or other. And of course, in the material world, if somebody curses you, that usually means they want some inauspiciousness to befall you. They want to see you suffer, right? They want some blood out of you. But when great devotees and supremely great devotees, great personalities like Radharani curse you, then there's some benediction there, there's some amazing pastime to take place. So he was cursed to take birth. So he married this devotee, Tulsi, and I'm not sure she was called Tulsi at the time. So anyway, because Vishnu wanted to fulfill the desire of Tulsi, then when Sankichuda was away fighting with the demons against the demigods, then Lord Vishnu, he appeared in the guise of this demon Sankichuda, and he pretended to be the husband of Tulsi, but when she found out, she cursed him, you've impersonated my husband, and thus I'm going to curse you. So she cursed him, just as you have a stone heart, you shall become a stone. So he happily accepted that curse. And when he revealed who he was, that I'm here to fulfill your desire to be my eternal consort, like you wanted, she did austerities for like 40,000 years or something like that. And then she was mortified that she'd cursed Lord Vishnu, but he says, don't worry, you shall take birth as Srimati Tulsi Devi. And in this way, they will never be separated. So the temple which we're going to see in the slides is called Sri Muktinath, and that is where this curse took place. And he was liberated from this curse by becoming Shalagram Shila at the region of Muktinath. So just to also let you know that although the Shaligram Sheilas, they take the form of sometimes round stones or sometimes look like fossils, and sometimes there's two occasions that I know of, there may be more, as Gopal Bhatta Goswami is worshipping one Damodar Shila, and all the other Goswamis of Vrindavan were worshipping the Tribhanga forms of Krishna, threefold bending form, playing the flute. And he was thinking, oh, although I'm very much attached to my shalagram, it'd be nice to have a deity where I could dress just like the other Goswamis. So this is one morning he woke up and that desire was fulfilled. His shalagram had taken the form of Sri Radharaman, Devji Maharaj. Yes. Sorry, did you have your hand up? Radharaman. So even if you look at him, you can see very much the texture of shalagram. So he woke up one day and he found that his shalagram had manifested as Krishna in the form of Radharaman. And you can see this deity in Vrindavan at Radharaman temple. And the other deity, which is also manifest from the shalagram, is considered to be Udupi Krishna, worshipped originally by Madhvacharya, and before that, Rukmini Devi in Dwarka. So this is, we told the story of that the other day when it was Madhvacharya's appearance. Very quickly, there was a merchant who was trading some goods, and he had a big, his ship ran aground just off of the village of Udupi. And Madhvacharya was approached by him because the man was anxious that he couldn't get to his destination to sell his goods. So everyone says, go to Madhvacharya, he's got mystic powers, he can help you. So he says, yeah, I'll help you. He says, what's your cost? He says, you have one block of Gopi Chandan tilak on board, I just want that. He says, okay, no problem. So by his mystic power, he raised the ship, and then he gave the tilak. And Madhvacharya ordered that tilak, which comes from Dwarka, which we wear on our heads, Gopi Chandan. He ordered it to be put into a tank of water, and after some time, the tilak dissolved, and inside there was the deity of Udupi Krishna, which was originally worshipped by Rukmini Devi, which also manifest from shalagram. So, where do we find shalagrams apart from Krinabavan? Gandaki River. Okay, and where is the Gandaki River? Nepal. And so in Nepal, anyone been to Nepal? Okay, and you've seen the Gandaki River? There's two Gandaki rivers. There's one called Kali Gandaki, which is black Gandaki, and one's called Seti Gandaki. So Seti Gandaki is called white Gandaki or milk Gandaki. It's a very beautiful river. It's a tributary of the Trishuli. Trishuli is, can anyone tell me what is Trishuli? Related to Lord Shiva. Trident, yeah, the Trishul or the trident of Lord Shiva. And it's a beautiful, beautiful river. If you travel from Kathmandu to Pokhara, it's about an 8-hour bus journey. Very beautiful and very dangerous. Yes, certainly you don't fall asleep on that journey very easily, unless you're an ISKCON devotee. And someone's reciting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. So we it's an 8-hour bus journey, and it's a wonderful scenic. If you look down, you'll see that beautiful river of Trishuli, and you also see a few wreckages of previous buses that tried to make the journey. And many of the mountains, they're terraced. People are growing on these mountains. It must have taken many, many generations to do that, because it just goes on for miles and miles and miles of terraced mountains. It's just astounding to see. And when you're in that area, it just feels like you're entering into another realm. You feel like the bus is going to disappear and you're just going to start seeing the demigods or Lord Vishnu lying down somewhere. It really does take your mind into another place until like the military helicopter comes flying down, and you see the Gurkha camp up in the Himalayas as well, and you realise, no, actually, we're in Kali Yuga here. We can't let our imagination run riot too much. The reality check. So that is the river of Trishuli, and the Kali Gandaki flows from Himalayas and around the region of Mustang, and there's a village there called Lomantang, which is just on the Nepali side of the border of Tibet. So that river flows down there, the Kali Gandaki. And it's called Kali. It's black because of all the effect of the shalograms. It's a blackish greyish color due to the shalogram shila's presence. So just a little side issue. Sometimes there's in Kathmandu, you can also go to the shalogram shila wallas. You go to these shops where they're selling shalograms. So in the shastras it say that one shouldn't sell or buy shalograms. Why is that? Anybody? Ash? Absolutely. Yeah, you can't put a price to buy or to sell. Sometimes devotees do that because they're going to be worshipping as Akama. So although they're buying, they're going to be worshipping as Akama, not for Sakama. So trying to make a business out of shalograms is not good. In fact, when we had found many shalograms and we were bringing them back to the UK, when I had a rucksack full of shalograms, and the security at the Delhi airport tried to stop me leaving. They said, "Oh, you can't take them with you." I said, "Oh, why not?" They said, "Oh, because you can't sell them." And I says, "Yeah, I know that." I said, "You go to Narak if you sell, Narak means like hell." and they said, "Anyway, they're too heavy." So I thought, I was just remembering Srila Prabhupada and Radha Londonishwara, when first of all Radha Londonishwara deities, Radharani, I think it was, had a broken finger, and the Indian society who'd brought those deities were thinking, we wonder if we can worship them or not. So let's find out from Swamiji if we can worship them. If we can, we'll just ask him if we can worship them. If he wants them, then that's fine. Then we know we can worship them. And then they would just do some cheating thing like, "Oh yes, we'll deliver them," but then they wouldn't deliver them, and they would just worship them themselves. But Prabhupada, as he said himself, is a Calcutta boy, so he wasn't to be fooled by this. So when they asked him, "Oh, are these deities okay?" He says, "Yes, very good." He says, "Okay, we will deliver them then." And Prabhupada says, "Don't worry, we have got a car outside, we can take them." He says, "Oh no, they're very heavy." And Prabhupada says, "No, they're not heavy at all, look, just see." And I think it was Tamal Krishna and Brahmananda. He said, Shamasunda and Tamal Krishna. He says, "Look, Tamal, this one's not heavy." Okay, that's great, thanks, bye, we're off. So before the Pujari could protest, then Prabhupada was in the car, and as soon as they got away, then Prabhupada was off on his Dandavats to Radha and Krishna. So I was took lessons from that. When the security says, "Oh, you can't take them," I thought, well, we've just had a big trip here to get all these shilas, and it was given on an order to us to do this. So he says, "Oh, they're too heavy, you can't take them." So I just slung them over one shoulder as if it wasn't heavy, but it was. And I was just thinking, this rucksack could break at any moment, and the shilas would be all over the place. I says, "No, they're not heavy at all," and I just walked off. I thought it's either all or nothing here. So he didn't call us back. All right, so we've only got a few minutes left. I will just... Also, there's fake shilas. So how can you tell if a shalogram shila is genuine or if it's fake? Yeah, if you have some gold, then you just run the gold along. And if the gold sticks, if it comes off, then it's a shalogram shila. So when we were in Kathmandu, we learned where to find shilas. You can go to the plane. That'd be probably the first slide, is it? we learned where to find shillas. They told us, go to Muktinath. So we went to the different shillagram shops, and we were thinking, oh, let's try and find them ourselves. We got too many to buy, and they wanted so much, and they were too big, etc. So they told us, go to Muktinath. So that's in the region of Dholagiri. Dholagiri is a mountain which is about 26,000 feet. It's the 7th highest mountain in the world. This is Dholagiri here. Is that the first slide? Yeah, that should be one of the later ones. Yeah, okay, yeah. So this is Lumbini. Lumbini is the area where apparently Buddha had appeared. Okay, so we took this in order to get to Muktinath. Then from Kathmandu, you have an 8-hour journey to Pokhara. And then from Pokhara, you've got a 3-day trek by foot or a half-hour flight. And the half-hour flight is 3 of them a day if you're lucky. It's 9, 9:30 and 10 o'clock. After that, it gets too windy. There's too much turbulence. And sometimes even before that. And sometimes it doesn't go at all. And so sometimes the flight will take off and realize there's too much turbulence, it comes back. And sometimes it takes off and it gets to the point of no return where it can't come back. So it's like when you get to that point, it's very treacherous. So you could think 3 days or half an hour, you got to weigh it up. So we weighed it up and we thought half an hour. Being Kali Yuga specimens, we take the risk. It was interesting. It's just like you're sitting in a minibus with wings, and every little movement of air, you can see the pilot going like this. You think, goodness, I wish I had, maybe I should have just walked. It's too late. You paid your money, take the choice. So this is the temple of Sri Muktinath. It's a pagoda-style temple. And Muktinath is that deity of Lord Vishnu. He was liberated from his curse there. This is where he took the form of Shalagram. And we can see many prayer flags here. And in Nepal, the Buddhists and the Hindus all attend each other's functions. Even our Sherpa, who was a Hindu, we asked him, are you Buddhist or Hindu? And then he had to think for a bit. And he said, Hindu. So he himself, so it's a testimony to the unity and diversity. If the rest of the world could be more tolerant with each other, that would be such a nice thing. So also at this temple of Sri Muktinath is a deity of Sita Devi. It was considered that Sita Devi appeared in Nepal and her two sons, Love and Kush. So at this point, Sri Muktinath temple is 12,000 feet up. It's one of the highest temples in the world. And Dholagiri is somewhere in the background, which is 26,000 feet. So when we arrived there, we got there pretty quick because we just took the mountain flight. So we went from a certain height to 9,000 feet, and then we got a horse, and we went horseback for a couple of hours, and before you knew it, we were 12,000 feet up. Just not really considering you have to acclimatize to the different levels of oxygen. And being asthmatic, then I found it quite difficult. We got there, it was too dark to return, so we had to spend the night there, and whether we liked it or not. So we had no choice, and I was thinking, well, I wonder if I don't survive the night, then at least I'm dying in a very auspicious place. And it was interesting because Prabhat Vani, who was with us, I brought my gear with me, like my hiking stuff and my sleeping bag and things, and he'd been there before, and he thought he would just hire some stuff, so he hired stuff, including a sleeping bag. But he hadn't looked at his sleeping bag, and when he got there, he rolled out his sleeping bag, and it was a kid's sleeping bag. He couldn't fit in it. It was like up to there. And it was, I think it was the end of January. It was freezing. Nobody else is there. It's just like they say, only mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun, so only mad dogs and Scotsmen go to Nepal in the winter. But it's possibly due to the pure atmosphere there or lack of oxygen. We were just giggling all night and laughing at him with his sleeping bag. It was really thin, and we're just laughing. It was like sleeping in a bag of crisps. Every time he moved, it just rustled, and it was just so thin and small. It was like practically they'd done better with a bin bag. So next morning we got up and we went looking for shalagrams. And it turned out that's not where you get the shalagrams. There were a few temples with shalagrams in them. And one pujari from the local temple there, not from the Muktinath temple, but from another one across the road, he heard our mission was to get so many shilas. So he gave us a few from his altar, which was really good of him. And then we had to go back down to Kagbeni, and there you'll find the River Gandaki is flowing, and we'd already passed by there on the way up, but we didn't know that. So it was the thing we had to do anyway, because I was getting altitude sickness, and the only cure for that is to go back down again. So we got to Kagbeni, and Kagbeni, the name Kag means, it refers to a red monastery, Kag, and Beni means the confluence of two rivers, the river Gandaki and the river, remember it, just like you got the Triveni, which is the confluence of three rivers. What are the three rivers there? Ganges, Yamuna, and Saraswati. So it was. Ganges, Saraswati, Yamuna. So that was the confluence, and this is Kagbeni, the confluence of two rivers, the river Gandaki and the river Jong, Jhong. So that was about 9,000 feet up, and there's only about 500 residents there. It's quite a small town, and it's quite remote, very remote. People there in that area, to get firewood, they have to travel for days just to get fire, so they're very particular about how they use things. And they have it's actually a bit of an oasis, just like sometimes you get an oasis in the desert. This is an oasis in the Gandaki Valley, 9,000 feet up. It's very green. They've got paddy fields. They grow barley there. There was fruit trees, apple and apricot. Not at the time of the year when we were there, but that's what they grow. And it's one of the oldest villages in the Himalayas. It was important back in the medieval times. It was important salt route, trading route between Nepal and Tibet. And since ancient times, then Kagbeni in that area, many sages would come there to find shalagrams to worship and to live in one of the many caves that can be found in that area. If you ever get to see it, or you can look online and you'll see on the cliff faces, there's many, many caves there. How they get there, I don't know. Maybe the elevator, maybe they just climb up or lower themselves down. So actually, just south of Kagbeni is a small village called Eklabati, and this is right on the banks of the Kaligandaki, and this is where we actually found all the shalagrams, and we stayed there for a good few days, a couple of weeks, twice in that trip, and from dawn till dusk we were just searching out shalagrams. So I do have to wrap up, but I'll just quickly go through some of these photographs. So this is Prabhadvani with Sri Tulsinath here. This is when we first found him. There's a picture just prior to that, we just oiled him. And this chap here, next to Prabhadvani, he's seen us on the banks of the Gandaki looking for shalagrams. And someone likened it, it's a bit of a mundane, but it's quite an interesting one. Someone likened finding shalagrams. So when we went there, we thought we'll find loads. And the riverbed was dry, so and there was only little kind of rivulets. And we could see many stones, but we couldn't find any shalagrams. So we thought, okay, this is not going to be so easy. We started praying, that we're here, Lord, for a mission from our spiritual master at that time to collect many shalagrams. So if you like to appear, then please make yourself visible. So after some time of praying, then we seen, that one's a shalagram. And then we seen, okay, there's a particular type of shade and colour of shalagram. So you started to see them. And they say it's a bit like looking for magic mushrooms. At first you don't find any, but when you find one, you see them everywhere. Whether that's because you've had a few and you start seeing them everywhere, I don't know. But with shalagrams, what we would do is we'd see one, and then say, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would pick a spot, and that would be like my anchor spot, and I'd find 1, 2, 3, and then if I started losing vision of them, then I'd go back to where it was and I'd see the rest. And then it would rain, and you couldn't see any of them. And then you'd have to accustom yourself to seeing them in the wet as well. So anyway, this boy here, he's seen us that we were collecting shalagrams, and he had this big stone, and he was cracking them open. Now, you're not supposed to do that. Not only you're not supposed to do that, it's really serious apparat to do that. It's not just, oh, naughty boy. It's very, very wrong to do that, like breaking the deity open. So he says, okay, I'll give you shalagrams. He didn't really speak much English. He says, look, we'll give you so many Nepali rupees. I think it was 1,000 rupees or something we gave him, which was a lot of money for him, which at that time was a tenner. And we said, just bring us Sheilas, but don't break open. You know, we don't want the gold inside. We don't want fossils. We want them as they are. So like 45 minutes later or something, they came back with Sri Tulsinath like this, and we thought, wow, amazing. But too big because we have to take so many back. But we thought he's so great. Let's just take him to our lodge and we'll keep him there. So day by day, we had a table just between our beds. And each day we're adding more Sheilas. And when we got the Sheilas, we'd massage them with fragrant oils because just to begin the worship. And we thought, okay, let's just keep Tulsinath here until we're leaving. We didn't call him Tulsinath at that time. He was just a big Sheila. And we'll leave him there until we're leaving. Then we'll put him back in the Gandaki when we're going back down to Jomsom to get the flight back to Pokhara. So, but somehow or another, we were late up that morning and we didn't have time to put him back in the Gandaki. So we thought, okay, the Gandaki River is also at Jomsom. Let's take him down there. So it was like a 3-hour walk or something. And we'll put him in the Gandaki there. We were thinking we were in control, actually. But Tulsinath had another plan. I know I'm going over time, but this is important, so I'll try and wrap it up quick. So we got to Jomsom, and somehow or another, it didn't happen there either. He ended up on the flight back to Pokhara, and then we thought, okay, we're coming back up to Gandaki in a few weeks' time. Let's leave him here with the hotel owner in the safe, and then we'll bring him, take him back up and put in the Gandaki. But then we thought, nah, we can't really leave the Lord Vishnu in somebody's safe. You know, let's take him to Vrindavan and then we'll bring him back up. So we got to Vrindavan and Shiva Ramraj was in the house next to us and he came over to see us and he's seen Sri Tulsinath and says, wow, he'd look good on Yuvrajadam altar. And something just made me say, well, and I was just thinking, well, if he's going to anywhere, he's going to Krunabhavan. I think I said that to Maharaj. So that's what happened. He ended up back in Krunabhavan. See, we had our thoughts and he had his plan. And when I arrived back here, it was actually Nityananda Trayodashi. And he was immediately put on the altar as soon as we arrived. And that was in 1998, Nityananda Trayodashi. And those deities were worshipped with over a period of some many months. Then many Sheilas were collected and came from different people who had given up worshipping of the Sheila. And the official kind of starting date of the puja was around this time in 1999. So this is from the mountain, from this mountain range here. You can see Gandaki here. And just before that, yes, you can see the river Gandaki as well. And then later on. So this is Sri Tulsinath. We used to worship him in the room where Ashish is staying just now. And Antashesh on the wall. We also used to do very elaborate Abhishek, next one, where with the deity likes being bathed, so we'd sometimes bathe with many different substances next, like ghee, honey, etc., and fruit garlands next. Again, next one. Oh, so you see here, this is a big Snan Vedi or bathing tray of many Sheilas. At that time, there was over 12,000 Sheilas there. And I was the pujari to begin with. And at that time, only once or twice a year, we'd take them all out and oil them because it took a full week to do that for one person. Things are arranged a little bit different now. Next, please. Really? Okay. Shri Tulsinath Maharaj ki. Shri Shalagram Sheila's ki. Okay, so next part of the program is Vaidehi, I think, is going to sing Vrindadevi Astakam, is that right? Someone going to play harmonium? Madanga, kirtans? Okay, do we have the words to put up here? Okay, if anyone's got any questions about what we spoke about, we can see me later. I'll be around. Are you going to read? Read from your phone? You are bathed by streams of splendor that rebuke gold, lightning, and the champak flower. Your splendid garments are friend to the banduka flower. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. Your face is splendid with a pearl decorating the tip of your nose and a wonderful gentle smile on your bimba fruit lips. You're decorated with wonderful jewel ornaments. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. Vrishabhanu's daughter Radha made you guardian of Krishna's opulent and auspicious abode of Vrindavan, the crest jewel of all Vaikuntha planets. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. By your order, the groves where Madhava enjoys pastimes are splendidly decorated with blossoming flowers, bumblebees, deer, honey, and other things. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. Because you became their messenger, the eager and youthful divine couple enjoyed the perfection of transcendental pastimes in the forest. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. By your mercy, the people attain residence in Vrindavan, the desire to serve your master's lotus feet and the desire to assist in the rasa dance. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. They who are learned in the Sattva Tantra glorify you. You are Krishna's pastime potency. The tulasi plant is your form in the world of men. O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. O merciful one, they who have no devotion and they whom millions of offences have thrown into the waves of lust and other vices, take shelter of you, O Vrinda, I bow to your lotus feet. A person who's like a bumblebee at the lotus feet of Vrindavan's king and queen and who reads or hears this Vrinda Astakam will eternally reside in Vrindavan and attain loving service to the divine couple. Srimati Vrinda Devi ki.
This wonderful bhajan is led by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Gangeya Champeya Tadi Tvininde Roche Prabhaha Snapitatma Vrinde Champeya Tadi Tvininde Roche Prabhaha Snapitatma Vrinde Bandhu ka bandhu dviti devya vasu vrinde namaste charanara vrindam bimbadaro detvaramandahasya nasagraha mukta dviti dipte tasya ramandahasya nasagraha mukta dviti dipte tasya विचित्ररत्नाभरणा श्रियड्ये वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् सामस्तवैकुण्ठ श्रीरोमनोश्री कृष्णस्य वृन्दा वनधान्यधाम्ने दत्ताधिकारे वृषभानुपुत्र वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् वदागैवा फलपुष्पवृङ्ग मध्वादिभिर्माधवाक्यलिकुञ्ज मध्वादिभिर्बिभन्ति विभूषमाना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् त्वादीयद्युक्तेन निकुञ्जयुन अत्युक्तकेली विलाससिद्धिर्वत्स त्वत्सौभगं नेत्रचेतं तां तत् वृन्देन नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् रासाभिलाषो वसतेश्च वृन्दा वाने त्वदीशां विसरोजसेवा लभ्याश्च पुंसां कृपया त्वत्वैव वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् त्वां कीर्त्य ये सत्त्वततान्तविद्भिर्लिभाधनाखेलि कृष्णासक्ति त्वत्वैव मूर्ति कृष्ण निर्लोके वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्ष्य क्षिप्तश्च कामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वां शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् वासा वृन्दाष्टकं या सुरत् पठयित्वा वृन्दावनाधीशपजां सहत्य सा प्रेय वृन्दावन नित्यवासां तत्प्रेम सेवां लभते तिक्रार्था गङ्गेय चम्पेय तादित्विनिन्दे रोचे प्रवाह स्नपितात्मवृन्दे वृंदाष्टकम की जय.
Thank you for that wonderful rendition of Vrindadevi Astakam Vaidehi. It was a nice melody. I hadn't heard that melody before. See, the child is the father of mankind, teaching us something. So we'd now like to invite Ashish Prabhu to give a talk on Srimati Vrindadevi.
Thank you, Prana Prabhu. Prana Prabhu is being extremely kind to me this morning or today. First, last night he asked me to speak on Chaitanya Charitamrita. And now Tiago Prabhu and Prana Prabhu, they're asking me to speak something on Srimati Vrindadevi. वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योगा शिक्षार्थमेक पुरुष पुराना श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य शरीरधारी कृपा बुद्धिर्यतमहं प्रपद्ये मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणम् वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So try to speak something on the glories of Srimati Vrindadevi. As Prana Prabhu mentioned in his talk of Vrindavan, the name Vrindavan derived, one we understand means forest, and Vrindavan, so the forest of Vrindadevi actually. And Vrindadevi, she's a transcendental personality, a friend of Srimati Radharani, who arranges the pastimes for Radha and Krishna, who arranges all the meeting points and pastimes, and very that role in arranging the pastimes for Srimati Radharani and Lord Shri Krishna. Another, say, name or expansion of Vrinda Devi is what we understand Tulasi Devi. And various meanings of the name of Tulasi Devi, Vrinda Devi. One of the meanings of the name of Tulasi Devi is, which we understand, is someone there's no comparison to, no comparison of. That Tulasi Devi, I will see a little bit like every morning devotees in temple for sure and respective homes as well sing the prayers of Vrinda Devi, right? You know, since early in the morning, devotees are the most ambitious personalities in this world. Since very early in the morning, especially when it comes to like chanting the prayers of Srimati Vrinda Devi. Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Nama. Radha Krishna Seva Pao E Avilashi. So we'll try to see a bit of this prayer as well, and how like such a glorious prayer, such a highest ambition oriented, say, prayer. It's not like devotees haven't got any ambition or they are not very ambitious. Rather, devotees actually are the most ambitious personalities in this world. So Vrindavan is where like a bit, if I go back in history for about like 60,000 odd years, daughter of a king, and performed Vrinda Devi, daughter of a king, and she performed tremendous austerities, and her father also performed tremendous austerities and attained godhead. And Lord Vishnu was being so pleased with Vrinda Devi that Lord Vishnu benedicted that whosoever performs austerities in Vrindavan will be very blessed. And there are more, say, details around it on Vrinda Devi, and then Tulasi Devi, an expansion of Vrinda Devi, more details around it. The most predominant thing for us practicing Krishna conscious devotees, especially in this Kali Yuga, one of the blessing of Kali Yuga is it is short lived. It's a big blessing that is short lived. Now, even though short lived, but this human form of life has a long journey to cover, long journey to cover. And that journey can be shortened by the mercy of Mahaprabhu. That journey can be shortened by the mercy of Srimati Vrinda Devi. So, these prayers which we sing of Srimati Vrinda Devi, right? Je tomara sharan loy, tara vancha purna hoy. Kripa kori koro tare Vrindavanavasi. So, Vedic culture, it begins with taking shelter. It begins with taking shelter. Wherever we see, the first thing is invoking auspiciousness, right? Lots of prayers and invoking auspiciousness, any ceremony that is conducted on a general daily basis also. And the devotee's life is like all sheltered life, only taking the shelter. So, Je Tomara Sharan Loy, Tara Vancha Purna Hoy. So, if I take the right shelter, then all the desires come true. And what is Vrinda Devi giving us? तारा वांछा पूर्ण होय कृपा कोरी कोरो तारे Vrindavanavasi, residence in Vrindavan. That is what she is giving Vrinda Devi. मोर ए अभिलाष विलास कुंज दियो वास नयने हेरिबो सदा युगल रूप राशि. मोर ए अभिलाष विलास कुंज दियो वास. This is where I find myself very disconnected. This is where, like, early morning I realize I'm such a biggest liar. Such a biggest liar. Prayers is Mora Ei Abhilash. This is my only desire. What Vilas Kunje Diyo was. But maybe somewhere I need to check myself. Is this my really the only desire? Do I really desire it? And also, practice of Krishna consciousness is not just for some having some, in a way, any sort of good banter or bringing some nice points here and then making some comic oriented in the class, or in general say. It is for genuinely understanding the highest aspiration. But even if I'm saying as a lie as well, even if I do not desire, but if I continue, that desire would come about. Krishna tells Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, Mam ichhaptum dhananjaya. When Arjuna is like struggling, Krishna says like, okay, if you cannot fully invest your mind and soul, heart and soul fully in me, that's fine. But at least follow the regulative principles, knowledge, meditation, and further. And he says, by this, come to this level that Ma Michhaptum Dhananjaya, desire for me. And Krishna consciousness, this is the highest thing, not something like in a substantial, tangible sense, making it. The real thing is desire. The glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam, when we hear about Dhundukari and Gokaran, them two brothers in the glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam, that just by someone desiring to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, he attains God. Just the very desire to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, just by having that faith or desire. So it is all bringing about, building upon that desire. So Mora e Avilash, Vilas Kunja Diyovas, Nayane Heribo Sada Yugal Ruparasi. And this is the role Srimati Vrinda Devi plays in the eternal pastimes, arranging all the eternal pastimes of Krishna in the groves, looking after the groves, checking into the groves, and the details around the groves and paraphernalia, supplying with all the paraphernalia and all. And the highest aspiration, admiration, achievement for the soul, Nayane Heribo Sada Yugal Rupa Sarasi. We see in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's prayers, Narottam Das Thakur's prayers, is like, when oh when that day. So this is the vision, like I long to see, I long to see. Nayane Heribo Sada Yugal Rupa Rasi. यही निवेदन धरो सखीर अनुगत करो सेवा अधिकार दिए करो निज दासी. So Srimati Vrinda Devi, she has got her associates and loving companions. One we understand is we can see in Vishnu Lounge, Srimati Vrinda Devi is there in Vishnu Lounge. So Vrinda Devi uh, has a parrot, and them parrots has their own set of parrots and all. Then Vrinda Devi has her friends who have their own set of friends. But the mood is all one. How to unite Radha Krishna. How to bring Radha Krishna together. How to do that. So the parrot Vrinda Devi has, the principal parrot, then there are other parrots. And those parrots, they understand the role, the mood, desire of Vrinda Devi. So they go around and checking, giving signals, signs to Vrinda Devi. Okay, is it a good time to let them meet, or is there any obstacle? Like we understand from Krishna Lila, right? And that is it safe? Is Radharani's mother-in-law and sister-in-law, say Jatila Kutila, are they somewhere on the way? Or Radharani's say competitor Chandravali, is she on the way? And ensuring that facilitating that ground, creating that facility and ground so that the divine couple can meet, they can unite. And this is the role, this is what subservient nature means, not to climb over. And for a subservient nature, those who are in Tasasta Shakti, those who are in the marginal potency, this is the highest joy if they can be in that position, in that situation wherein they can help the divine couple meet. So, a nivedan dharo sakhir anugata karo. Anugat na, to under the shelter, under the care of someone. That is the highest thing, to be uh, belonging to someone, the joy of giving to someone, the joy of surrendering to someone. What a joy. That I belong to him or her, that sort of joy. And what our only right is seva adhikara kar diye, koro niche dasi. So we want to be the considered as own. Through how? Through service. The way to win someone's heart is through service only. And in the transcendental realm, lots and lots of service is required. Lots and lots of opportunities for service. Transcendental realm here as well, material world as well, lots and lots of opportunities to serve. Srimati Vrinda Devi also is like looking for the proper attitude oriented souls who could help. Uh, like the parrots are there and other friends are there helping meet. And we understand in Braj, Vrinda Devi has a like temple, she's worshipped, very nicely worshipped, and also there's a Vrinda Kund where Vrinda Devi meditates, and all the meditation is what? How not to directly enjoy with Krishna, no. Because Vrinda Devi is like her anugatya, her subservient is towards Srimati Radharani, right? Constitutional, say, fidelity, position, or uh, belongingness to Srimati Radharani. So always that meditation is how could actually the divine couple meet. And we understand Vrindavan, the name of the forest after Vrinda Devi, and Vrinda Devi herself, when she uh, gifted or gave that forest, the entire Vrindavan forest to Srimati Radharani. There was a ceremony, coronation, and all. And one of another name of Srimati Radharani is Vrindavaneshwari. So there are more around it, the pastimes, but really we can relish more the pastimes when we have the right attitude for it. And we can relish the pastimes when we are very clear with the siddhants behind it. Otherwise, the rasana, we won't be able to sustain the rasa, and the rasa also won't come. Like the sooner they will come, also some like rasa oriented point. Oh, that's a nice point. That's a nice point. The sooner we will be out of it. We, Maya Devi will be giving us so many things that, and sooner we'll be equating perhaps those rasas with this mundane world rasa, and we will be settling down this mundane world rasa. So, Google Maharaj has lot to offer in terms of Vrinda Devi. Yeah. Google Maharaj, just at the drop of one snap of finger, Google Maharaj can bring out everything. Yes, uh, this is the name of the parrot Vrinda Devi has. Daksha, by the way, Google Maharaj says. Daksha is the name of the parrot Vrinda Devi has. But main thing is the books are there, scriptures are there, but how do I channelize my consciousness there? How do I channelize? Had it just been books oriented thing, and blimey, all the software engineers of India might be now kind of just our those who are very much into academic oriented reading, they could have made it. But it is not something like the practice of Krishna consciousness is not at all bookish. See, this is where like Prana Prabhu asks me or Tiagu Prabhu, he says me to speak but tell 15-20 minutes. Such a it's like doing me. Just one thing, Srila Prabhupada in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 6th canto, chapter 6, text 8, the purport. I believe the very first sentence of the purport, Prabhupada says like, uh, academic knowledge without realization of the message of the Godhead is useless, is of no value. Just academic knowledge without. So this going through Google Maharaj is like, okay, it's good. It is good. It whatever helps bring our faith and helps us understand, and say collecting information in a way is also good. But that information has to be transformed, channelized into knowledge. And knowledge should be transformed, channelized into wisdom. Yeah? Wisdom. Then yes. So the vision is like Nayane Heribo Sada Yugal Ruparasi. That is the offer on place. Yeah. But and the way is A Nivedan Dharo Sakhir Anugata Karo. Sakhina Vrinda Devi Sakhi of Srimati Radharani, and there are many other Sakhis, Lalita Sakhi, Vishaka Sakhi and all. And based on their position and all. And what is our position? Mahaprabhu has given us the fullest, and he's giving us the fullest the opportunity to understand our Manjari Swarup, our Manjari Bhav, or our position, and in that subservient nature. And our adhikar, our only adhikar is seva adhikar diya. So there are different levels of bliss. We are after bliss, right? What? As we were trying to understand this morning as well. Uh, Virhanand, the bliss in separation from Krishna. Wow. Virhanand. Uh, and Premanand, the joy in, like, say, uniting with Krishna, or the joy in the practice of Krishna consciousness. So, Virhanand is higher than Premanand actually. The joy of separation from Krishna is higher than the joy in meeting. And more important for us, sadhaka, Sevanand, the joy of service. The joy of service. And we see in various pastimes, like uh, while doing services, now so much of ecstasy or joy, realized souls experience, Krishna's associates experience, Prabhupada, spiritual masters experience. But they are so cautious also that this Krishna, you are giving me ecstasy at the wrong time. No, Sevanand is my topmost priority, or Sevanand should become the service oriented. That should become the topmost thing. So, Seva Adhikar Diye Koro Nijadasi. This is this a again. Some of the songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Narottam Das Thakur in this prayer also, na? A Nivedan Dharo, more A Abhilash, A meaning just this, no other. A Nivedan Dharo, only this request, no other request. I'm such a big liar. Every day, first thing in the morning, or the very second thing maybe in the morning, uh, I just go on lying and lying. Okay, first A Nivedan Dharo, then more. But what to do? Fine. Because I'm in the company of very loving devotees, they will, I'm sure, they will make this lie of mine one day a truth if I hang on. They will make this lie one day a truth. Seva adhikar diye koro nij dasi. To be called as someone's personal dasi, no higher joy than that. है ना? Imagine Nicola Sturgeon's secretary, or imagine like Prime Minister, President, Secretary, and all. It's a very esteemed position. It's a very esteemed position. So nij dasi, wow. Seva adhikar diye koro nij dasi. दीन कृष्ण दासे को ए न मोरा होय. Shri Radha Govinda Preme Sada Yena Bhasi. The only problem is I don't consider myself deen. Rather, I consider myself too advanced. And that is the problem. But otherwise, Dina Krishna Dase Koi E Yena Mora Hoy. Shri Radha Govinda Preme Sada Yena Bhasi. So I swim in this, in the arranging for the divine couple, the meeting and the pastimes of the divine couple. And in order me to swim into that, I need to realize my bottomness. है ना? I need to realize my ultimate bottomness. When I realize my bottomness, and then prayers will come out then. Bottomness meaning like my real low, say. And when I realize that, yes, that I'm really fallen and genuinely pray, then prayer should be, I fall no more. I fall no more. And then I can call out, yes. And then, yeah. For the blessings of devotees, Shri Radha Govinda Preme Sadayena Bhasi. So Srimati Vrinda Devi, she arranges these meetings for Radha and Krishna. Vrinda Kund is where she does meditation, and then there's a Gupt Kund. Gupt is in secret. So she arranges meetings for the divine couple to meet secretly in the early morning hours, or dawn time, before dawn time, and then she makes sure that everything is fine, and then Vrinda Kund, Radha Kund daytime meeting, and other places the meeting. So okay, if there are any short comments or questions. Okay, thank you very much for your patient listening. Hare Krishna.
Acharya Vara Gadadhara Murakula Advaita Acharya Vara Gadadhara Murakula Narahari Vilasi Mora Dhanamora Nityananda Pati Mora Gaura Chandra Prana Mora Jugala Kishora Dhanamora Nityananda Vaishnavera Padadhuli Kahe Mora Snana Keli Vaishnavera Padadhuli Kahe Mora Snana Keli Tarpanamo Vaishnavera Nama विचार करिया माने भक्ति रस आस्वादने विचार करिया माने भक्ति रस आस्वादने मध्यस्थ श्री भागवत पुराण Dhanamora Nityananda Pati Mora Gaura Chandra Prana Mora Jugala Kishora Dhanamora Nityananda Dhanamora Nityananda Pati Mora Gaura Chandra Prana Mora Jugala Kishora Dhanamora Nityananda Pati Mora Gaura Chandra Dhanamora
The translation of this bhajan by Narottam Das Thakur is: Lord Nityananda is my wealth, Lord Gaurachandra is my master, the youthful divine couple is my life, Advaita Acharya is my strength, Gadadhara is my family, Narahari Sarakara is my glory. The dust of the devotees' lotus feet is my bathing water. The chanting of the devotees' name is my satisfaction. Considering the merits of all Vedic literatures in the light of devotional service, I have concluded that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the best of all scriptures. My mind is firmly convinced of the spiritual benefit obtained by eating the remnants of foodstuff left by the devotees. The names of the devotees are my happiness. The land of Vrindavana is the enclosure within which I keep my mind. Poor hearted Narottam Das speaks in this way. Hare Krishna.
I told Shri Krishna was going to give a talk on the mercy of Lord Nityananda.
So, Hare Krishna. Shri Nityananda Ram Ki. Actually, it's the glories of Lord Nityananda, but that's also the mercy. So that was a nice dance. That was Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And they were dancing around, yeah. Nice. It'd be nice to know what the mudras mean, all the different things, what this means. It'll have a meaning, yeah? Anyway, maybe we can do that next time. Next time they do a dance, then they can explain the mudras, what they are, because they're telling a story through them. So, Lord Nityananda, this is just some beautiful statements collected from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, from the Adi Leela, chapter 5, which is the glories of Lord Nityananda, explained by Krishnadas Kaviraj. So 2 expansions of the Lord. One is Swamsa, which is unlimited potency, and the other is Vibhinamsa, which is the living entities. May Sri Nityananda Ram be the object of my constant remembrance. Sankasan, Sheshanag, and the Vishnus who lie on the Karna ocean, Garbha ocean, and ocean of milk are his plenary portions and the portions of his plenary portions. So it's interesting the way the Chaitanya Charitamrita is set out before we go into the pastimes of Lord Nityananda. It's very, very firmly established who Lord Nityananda is, and then after we've got that established, we have that tattva in place, then we can start to look at the Leela. There's no point trying to understand or appreciate the Leela until the identity of Lord Nityananda is firmly established. Otherwise, what can happen and what does happen, and is probably happening right now, is people misinterpret and take Lord Nityananda's pastimes in a cheap way or a sahaja way or in a rasabas way, in the sense that they don't take them in the right context. And on that subject, to a gross materialist, this kingdom of God, Vaikuntha, is certainly a mystery. But to an ignorant man, everything is a mystery for want of sufficient knowledge. Haribol. So that's interesting, that, because sometimes people will say, well, I find it really hard to understand Lord Nityananda and, the whole thing, actually, the whole God thing. Kingdom of God, Vaikuntha, it's, then you can turn around and say, well, what do you understand? What do you really have a sufficient knowledge of that can be considered conceivable? What do you really understand? Do you understand how the sun rises, how the grass turns into milk, how the banyan seed produces a banyan tree, which produces millions of seeds, which produce millions of seeds? Do you understand how that takes place? That's inconceivable. But you just brush that aside as normal. But we cannot accept that Lord Nityananda Ram is Ananta Sheshanag, the source of all the Vishnus. No, that I can't understand. Well, actually, you don't understand anything really if you look at it. A gross materialist, and because he's a gross materialist, it doesn't really concern him that he doesn't understand, because he just wants to gratify his senses. And if there's too much stuff to try and understand, then maybe that's going to get in the way of his sense gratification. So just forget it then. I'll just go in the mode of ignorance, and I'll wallow around in sense gratification like a hog and stool. So there we have the gross materialist. So everything, in fact, is inconceivable, for the truth is revealed only to the proper persons. So if we want to penetrate through inconceivability, then we have to qualify ourselves. We have to become a proper person. We have to be situated in goodness, leading a sattvic life, following certain regulative principles. And Srila Prabhupada is asking us to chant a certain amount of rounds. Now, like Prabhupada was saying before, Srila Prabhupada says, okay, look, just chant for 2 hours, bare minimum. That's all you can do, then at least do 2 hours. But Lord Chaitanya was asking for 8 hours of chanting. He said he wouldn't eat in the house of somebody unless they chanted a lakh. And a lakh is 100,000, and 100,000 is 64 rounds. And 64 rounds takes about 8 hours to chant, So Srila Prabhupada chopped it to a quarter. So that's like the bare minimum. If you want access and you want to be a proper person to understand the inconceivability of the truth, the absolute truth, then please chant and follow these principles, and then you can become a proper person. Revealed knowledge may in the beginning be unbelievable because of our paradoxical desire to verify everything with our tiny brains. But the speculative means of attaining knowledge is always imperfect. The perfect knowledge propounded in the revealed scriptures is confirmed by the great acharyas who have left ample computations upon them. None of these acharyas has disbelieved in the Shastras. So, Srila Prabhupada gives a very interesting example. He says, how do you know who your father is? So you could mentally speculate, well, it could be him over there. His nose is pretty much the same shape as mine. And you deny the authority of your mother, and then you go interviewing everybody in South Lanarkshire, you know. Actually, are you actually my father? Like they have that T-shirt, don't they? I'm the real daddy. So you could go around with that T-shirt, and when you find who you think is your father, you give him the T-shirt. So you could do that. Or you could, if you were intelligent, you could just ask your mother, who is my father? So the mother is the Vedas, and the Vedas are telling us who our father is. They're telling us who Lord Nityananda Ram is. They're telling us about the Karna ocean, the Sharadakashaya ocean, Gavadakashaya Vishnu, Sharadakashaya Vishnu. It's going to be really, really tough trying to work that one out by mental speculation. You know, you're walking along and you're speculating. I've got it. What it is, there's a creator with 4 heads, a lotus flower comes out of his navel, and then a Vishnu expansion breathes out, and all the universes come out the pores of his skin. That's what it is. Have fun. You speculated. There's very little chance that that's going to happen, isn't it? In fact, there was a book by Monty Python, and it was said, it kept saying in every page, very soon we're going to give you the answer to the universe. And eventually, after you go through it, toward the end of the book, it does come up with the answer to the universe. And the answer to the universe is 47. But then you're going to try and figure out what the question was. So it's a difficult system to try to achieve understanding of what is unbelievable. One who disbelieves in the Shastras is an atheist, and we should not consult an atheist, however great he may be. A staunch believer in the Shastras, with all their diversities, is the right person from whom to gather real knowledge. Such knowledge may seem inconceivable in the beginning, but when put forward by the proper authority, its meaning is revealed, and then one no longer has any doubts about it. So the method is to have the knowledge revealed. If it's revealed, then we understand. If it's not revealed, then no matter how hard we try with our tiny brains, we cannot understand. We cannot penetrate into this understanding. It comes by grace. There in the spiritual sky, the personal feature of Balaram called Mahasankashan is the shelter of the spiritual energy. He is the primary cause, the cause of all causes. The 6 attributes are all spiritual. Know for certain that they're all manifestations of the opulence of Sankashan. There is one marginal potency known as the Jiva. Maha Sankashan is the shelter of all Jivas. He, Sankashan, is the shelter of everything. He is wonderful in every respect, and his opulences are infinite. Even Ananta cannot describe his glory. So what's interesting is the knowledge is revealed when we take shelter. And it's interesting, isn't it, when we say the word understand. Well, how do we understand what understand really means? To understand is to take shelter, which means to stand under. To understand, you stand under and you take shelter, and then the knowledge is revealed. Just like in the pastime with Govardhan, those that took shelter under Govardhan, then they were able to understand. And if you didn't have that faith to want to take shelter, then you stayed outside, and then the material energy would smash you. So how long do we stay in the downpour of the material energy before we think, you know, I think I'm going to take shelter, and maybe then I can get the understanding. If you take shelter, then it's revealed. That Mahavipurusha Karandakashaya Vishnu is known as a plenary part of him who is Lord Nityananda Balaram, the favorite associate of Lord Chaitanya. I offer my full obeisances unto the feet of Nityananda Ram, a partial part of whom is Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. From the navel of Garbhodakashaya Vishnu sprouts the lotus. There is the birthplace of Brahma, the engineer of the universe. The stem of that lotus is the resting place of the multitude of planets. So probably at this time, atheists would be getting a little bit uncomfortable with this whole concept, and the multitude of planets being inside the stem of a lotus flower is quite challenging, really. And then even more challenging, I remember I was speaking to a man in Aberdeen, and he would give a nice donation every year, and he said, I find it a little bit hard to get my head around. And I said, well, are you aware that the universe is held up by 4 elephants? So then his circuit just kind of went, because it's just so inconceivable. But then if we trace it back, what can we accept as conceivable? That a lump of rock was floating around. Where did the rock come from? Well, nobody knows. It was just hanging around there in space. And one day, okay, so that's the alternative. You've got a lotus stem with a multitude of planets, or you've got a rock that goes from nowhere and everything comes into existence. That's pretty unreasonable, isn't it? And inconceivable, if you think. That takes quite a leap of faith, actually. But the process that we have, we can verify, we can start to become aware by chanting mantra, by following a life in the mode of goodness. We can start to become perception of the truths. We start to become aware. And that's explained in the Bhagavad Gita, Raja Vidya, Rajaguya. Pratyaksagavamam damyam. It is the perfection because it gives direct experience. Pratyak is direct perception. So the perfection of any religious process is that it gives you direct experience. You're able to perceive the truth, which is different than assimilating information, processing it, and then thinking, well, now I understand. I understand that. I understand when you put potassium and magnesium sulfate together and put heat under it, it goes boom. Okay, so, but do you really understand? Is that really, is it revealed to you? Why did it take place? Why did it happen like that? How it took place is different from why it took place, you see. And why is real knowledge and how it's just observational. So Prayaksagavamam dhamya, perfection of religion is to have direct perception, to have it directly revealed to you. That's why it's the king of knowledge. And it is the most secret of all secrets, because unless you have the right attitude, then it remains a secret. So I offer my respectful obeisances unto the feet of Nityananda Ram, whose secondary part is the Vishnu lying in the ocean of milk. That Kshirodakashaya Vishnu is the super soul of all living entities and the maintainer of all the universes. Sheshanag is his further subpart. That Lord Vishnu is but a part of a plenary portion of Lord Nityananda, who is the source of all incarnations. The Lord of Swetadweep has immense potency for creation and destruction. Sri Nityananda Prabhu, being Baladev himself, the original form of Sankashan, is the original form of the Lord of Swetadweep. So what's nice about Krishna's Kaviraj is he's building everything up so that when we start to hear about the pastimes of Lord Nityananda, then we feel very fortunate, very privileged to be aware of these pastimes and these qualities of Lord Nityananda. And so it's building up our ability to have gratitude and appreciation. And we're called the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, but actually, it's not just Krishna consciousness. Actually, it's the International Society for Appreciation of Krishna, that we're appreciating Krishna. And the ability to appreciate, that can only come by the acquisition of knowledge, because it's only if you have knowledge that you can appreciate the value of something. If somebody gives you something very, very valuable, you may not appreciate. If you don't know anything about diamonds and somebody gives you a big lump of glass, you say, oh, okay, thanks a lot. You don't know what it is. You don't know what a real diamond looks like. So if you're given something that's very valuable, you have to acquire the knowledge to be able to appreciate the value of what it is. And Lord Nityananda Ram is like that. Lord Nityananda Ram is standing there on the altar, and he's so significant, so powerful, so immense. And toward the end, that person of whom Ananta is a kala, or part of a plenary part, is Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who therefore can know the pastimes of Lord Nityananda. Lord Chaitanya is the same Lord Krishna, and Lord Nityananda is Lord Balaram. Lord Nityananda fulfills all of Lord Chaitanya's desires. The ocean of Lord Nityananda's glories is infinite and unfathomable. Only by his mercy can I touch even a drop of it. So So that's it, really. Can't say more than that, can you? And so, for us, the challenge is: can we become aware can we invoke the mercy of Lord Nityananda? And when we get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, then we become free of material desires, and we become empowered to spread Krishna consciousness. Just like they say, Srila Prabhupada was a direct incarnation of Lord Nityananda's Shakti, because his potency to spread Krishna consciousness was so phenomenal, So for us, the challenge is: can we also take shelter of Lord Nityananda and become empowered by him? We can become aware, understand him, at least one tiny drop of him, and become free of our material desires, become free of our envious nature, our critical nature, and then be a real proponent for spreading Krishna consciousness. A true Vaishnava is one who can make others a Vaishnava by his association. That's the real hallmark, the real symptom. And that is only by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, by his potency. Shri Nityananda Ram ki, Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Haribo.
Hare Krishna. Nitai Pada Kamala. This is the translation of Nitai Pada Kamala by Narottama Das Thakur. The lotus feet of Lord Nityananda are a shelter where one will get the soothing moonlight, not only of one but of millions of moons. If the world wants to have real peace, it should take shelter of Lord Nityananda. Unless one takes shelter under the shade of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, it will be very difficult for him to approach Radha Krishna. If one actually wants to enter into the dancing party of Radha Krishna, he must firmly catch hold of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. Anyone who has not established his relationship with Nityananda Prabhu is understood to have spoiled his valuable human birth. Such a human being is actually an uncontrollable animal because he is never uttered the holy name of Nityananda. He has become merged into so-called material happiness. What can his useless education and family tradition do to help him? Being maiden after false prestige and prestige and identification with the body, one is thinking, oh, what is Nityananda? What can he do for me? I don't care. The result is that he is accepting something false to be truth. If you actually want to approach the association of Radha Krishna, you must first achieve the mercy of Lord Nityananda. When his when he is merciful towards you, then you will be able to approach Radha Krishna. Therefore, you should firmly grasp the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. The lotus feet of Nityananda are not illusion, they are a fact. One who engages in the transcendental loving service of Nityananda is also transcendental. Always try to catch the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. This Narottama Das is very unhappy. Therefore, I am praying to Lord Nityananda to make me happy. My dear Lord, please keep me close to your feet. ऐसे वहाँ से पढ़ रही निताय पाद कमला कोटि चंद्र सुशीतला निताय पाद कमला जे छाए जगत जुराए हेनो नेता बिने भाई राधा कृष्ण पाइते नाई जिद करी धरणी ताए पाए से संबंध नाही चारा वृथा जन्म गेलो तारा से पशु बरो दुराचार्य निताय ना बोलिल मुखे माझिलो संसार सुखे विद्या कुले की करिबे तारा अहंकार मत होइया निताय पाद पशरिया आश तेरे सत्य कोरी मानी निताय करुणा हावे ब्रज राधा कृष्ण पावे धारो निताय चरण दुई खानी निताय चरण सत्या ताहर सेवा कनेत्या निताय पदा सदा करो आशा नरोत्तम बरो दुखी निताय मोरा करो सुखी रखो रंगा चरण रे पाशा निताय पाद कमला कोटि चंद्र सुशीतल निताय पाद कमला छे छाए जगत जुराए हेनो निताय बिने भाई राधा कृष्ण पाते नाई दृढ़ कोरी धरणी ताए पाए हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय नित्यानंद राम जय नित्यानंद राम जय नित्यानंद राम जय नित्यानंद राम जय कोरानिताय मायापुर शशि जय कोरानिताय जय मायापुर शशि चाहे एक चक्रधाम, एक चक्रधाम, एक चक्रधाम, चाहे एक चक्रधाम। जय जय प्रभुपाद, 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। हरे कृष्णा।
This is a bhajan by Lochana Das Thakur. The noble Lord Chaitanya is never angry, for he is the perfectionist, the personification of supreme transcendental bliss. Devoid of any concept of false ego, Nitai wanders about the town, going from door to door in the residence of the most fallen and wrecked souls. He freely distributes the gifts of the Harinam Mahamantra. He exclaims to whoever he sees while holding straw between his teeth, "Please purchase me by worshipping Gaura Hari." Saying thus, Nityananda Prabhu rolls about on the ground, appearing like a golden mountain tumbling in the dust. Lochana Das Thakur says, whoever has not experienced the awakening of affection for such an avatar as this, that sinful person simply comes and goes uselessly in the cycle of repeated birth and death. Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Raya Abhimana Shunya Nitai Nagare Bidaya Akrodha Paramananda Anandaram Ya Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Raya Abhimana Shunya Nitai Nagare Bidaya Akrodha Raya Abhimana Shunya Adhamapatita jivera dware dware giya Hari Nama Mahamantra Nichna Bilaya जारे देखे तारे काहे दंते तृणधारी आमारे किनियालाहाम बाला गौरहारी जारे देखे तारे काहे दंत तृणधारी आमारे किनियालाहाम बाला गौरहारी Ita bali nityananda tume gadi jaya sunara parvata jena chulate lotaya Ita bali Ita bali nityananda tume gadi jaya sonara parvata jena tulate lotaya Hinavatara jaram ratina janmila lochana bala se papi elar gela ratina janmila Hinavatara jara ratina janmila lochana bala se papi elar gela Akruda Paramananda Nityananda Raya Abhimana Shunyanitai Nagare Viraya Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram. Jaya Eka Chakradham, Eka Chakradham, Eka Chakradham, Jaya Eka Chakradham. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Shri Shri Nityananda Trayodashi ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. That was a wonderful bhajan again. I would like to call Sriram. He's going to talk about the importance of worshipping Lord Nityananda. Thank you.
So, Hare Krishna, everyone. My name is Sriram, and today I will be giving a speech on the importance of worshipping Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So do you know what the role of Nityananda Prabhu is in our lives? If you don't know the answer to this question, then you will by the end of this speech. So I will start by narrating a pastime which shows us how important Nityananda Prabhu is. So I'm sure you have all heard of the six Goswamis. And in these six Goswamis, the first one to take darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Shri Raghunath Das Goswami. And Shri Raghunath Das Goswami lived a very wealthy life. His parents were tax collectors, and hmm, and he had a wonderful house. He had a wife like Lakshmi Devi. He had lots of gold, and he had lots of servants to cook him food and do whatever he wants. But one day, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was so attractive that Sri Raghunath Das Goswami just wanted to stay with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the rest of his life. So this is how attractive the Lord is. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the golden avatar of Lord Krishna, and this is how attractive he is. And now, but his parents would not approve of this. His parents said, "No, you cannot go and stay with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have to stay here with us." So because of that, he would try to run away from his home. But his servants, who were also like his bodyguards, were sent in all four directions, and he would eventually be brought back home. So. mm, but one day Nityananda Prabhu came to visit a place nearby, and then when Sri Raghunath Das Goswami heard about it, he said, he said, "Mother, father, please can I go and see Nityananda Prabhu?" And then his parents said, "Okay, but you are going to send your servants with you, so you don't run away again." So so then he went to see Nityananda Prabhu. But when Nityananda Prabhu saw him, he shouted, "Thief, thief, chore, chore, someone catch him quickly." So when this happened, two people went and took Sri Raghunath Das Goswami to Nityananda Prabhu. And then everyone was very confused. What did Sri Raghunath Das Goswami steal? Why is he being addressed as a thief? So to understand this, we'll have to know the definition of a thief. A thief is someone who takes someone else's property without the permission of the owner. And this is what Sri Raghunath Das Goswami has been trying to do all this time. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the property of Nityananda Prabhu. So he tried to go straight to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without getting the blessings of Shri Nityananda Prabhu, the permission of the owner. So, so yeah, so then because of this, he got given a punishment, and this punishment was that he had to arrange a big festival, and for prasadam he had to make dahi chida. What dahi chida is it's a very nice, rich, delicious recipe. It's made from flat rice with yogurt, fruits, honey, and many other ingredients. It's a very nice dish. Mm, and then Sri Raghunath Das Goswami was very happy to take this punishment. He went and bought the ingredients at the store, and he went and then he cooked it with love and happiness. And then when the festival came, the festival was so big that even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to the festival himself. So. So normally at the at the temple, there aren't many people during the talk or the discussion or the kirtan, but at prasadam time, lots of people suddenly turn up. So like this, there were even people standing in the Ganga river and eating. This is how big this festival was. So the festival was a huge success. It was a very nice festival. And this festival today is called Pani Hati. And this festival, and it's still celebrated today. Mm, so mm, so n- so after the festival, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, he put his feet on the head of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, and then he blessed him. So he said, "I bless you. You have made a very nice festival." now you can go to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So now he has got the permission of the owner. So the next time he tried to run away from home after 12 days of traveling, he succeeded. He got to Jagannath Puri and he had darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was very pleased to see him, as he also came to the festival. So what we can learn from this story is that without the Guru's blessings, you cannot go back to Krishna. Um, so like so there are so why is the guru so important? Why do we need the guru's blessings? Why can't we go straight to Krishna? The answer to this is in many scriptures, and one of them is in Mangalarati, which is an arati we do at 4:30 every morning to wake Krishna up. For that arati we sing Samsara Dava, and in the trans and then it's in the translation to that first verse, which says, the spiritual master is receiving benediction from an ocean of mercy. Just as a cloud pours water on a forest fire to extinguish it, so the spiritual master delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master, who is an ocean of auspicious qualities. So this so what this verse is saying is that it's describing all of our material problems, our stress, our anxiety, our finance, all our material problems. It is describing as a scorching hot forest fire. So if you've been around a campfire or a big fire, then it is sometimes uncomfortable. There is smoke everywhere. The ashes are flying around, and it's very hot. So that uncomfortable feeling is described as the hot forest fire. And but what the spiritual master does is he takes all of these problems we have, and like a huge cloud of rain pouring down on the fire, he cools them down. He instructs us, and he takes our problems and he makes them minuscule. And he brings us closer to God. Um, so so another verse which glorifies Sri Nityananda Prabhu himself is Nitai Padakamala, which was sung by Arohi. So earlier on. Mm, so the translation to this is, the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda are a shelter where one will get the soothing moonlight, not only of one but millions and millions of moons. So again, this is describing our problems of the scorching sun, but then it is describing Sri Nityananda Prabhu's lotus feet as as a million moons, cooling everything down. So again, you need the blessings of Sri Nityananda Prabhu to go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, mm, so our gurus, they put in a lot of hard work. They help us. They instruct us. They take our problems and make them very small. So I request you all to pay all your respects to your gurus, offer your obeisances, and keep them satisfied by listening to their instructions. So our gurus put in a lot of hard work for us, so we should have respect for them. And our Jagat Guru here, Srila Prabhupada, just like Krishna, he is always watching us. So if we please him, then we can get the mercy of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, um, who is Balaram, who is Guru Tattva, and then from that we can get the mercy of Krishna and reach our goal, which is going back to Godhead. So please pay your respects to your gurus and keep them satisfied. So thank you very much for listening to my speech. Please forgive me if I have made any mistakes. Hare Krishna. No. Nityananda Prabhu ki.
Thank you. That was a wonderful talk, Sriram. Thank you. Um, Actually, the next part of the event is the Lerera Gita Bhajan. Prana Prabhu was going to sing, but
the lyrics on the screen. Shri Nityananda Ram ki, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki. Boro suker kabor gaye, boro suker kabor gaye. Boro suker kabor gaye, boro suker kabor gaye. Surabhi kunje te namer hat kuleche. Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Boromojar kathatai, Boromojar kathatai. Shraddha mulye shuddhanam se hatete bhikai. Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Jata bhakta vrindabasi, Jata bhakta vrindabasi. Adhikari deche nam beche darokasi. Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Jadi nama kinbe bhai, jadi nama kinbe bhai. Amar sanje chalo mahal jene kache jaya. Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Jaya Gaudanitai, Gaudanitai. Tumi kinbe Krishna nam, Tumi kinbe Krishna nam. Kastori loibo ami purne habekam. Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Borodoyal Nityananda, Borodoyal Nityananda. Shraddha matra loyeden Paramananda. Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Ek badek le chake jal, ek badek le chake jal. Gaura bole nitai den sakala sambala. Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Den Shura Krishna Shiksha, Den Shura Krishna Shiksha. Jati Dhana Bichya Bal Na Kore Apeksha. Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Amni chare maya jal, amni chade maya jal. Grihe thako, bane thako, na thake janjal. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Arnaiko Kalir Boy, Arnaiko Kalir Boy. Achandale Jennam Nitai Doyamoy. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Bhakti Vinodaki Koi, Bhakti Vinodaki Koi. Bhakti Vinodaki Koi, Bhakti Vinodaki Koi. Nitai Charana Bina Arnahi Ashroy. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Mayapur Shashi. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Mayapur Shashi, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Mayapur. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Mayapur Shashi, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Mayapur Shashi. Shri Shri Gauranitai Mayapur Shashi ki, Shri Tulsinath Maharaj ki, Shri Giridhari Lal ki, Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki.
Kiba Jayo Jaya Gaura Chandre Arati Keshoga. Jaya Jaya Gaurachandra Adotike Shobha Jaya Janavitatavane Jagamalaloba Janavitatavane Jagamalaloba Dakini Tai Chan Vame Gadadhada Dakini Tai Chan Vame Gadadhara Nikate Advaita Srini Vasa Chatradara Nikate Advaita Srini Vasa Chatradara Vose Ache Gaurachan Ratna Singha Shane Vose Ache Gaurachan Ratna Singha Shane Arati Kore Rama Adi Devagani Arati Kore Rama Adi Devagani Narari Adi Kori Shamaradulaya Narari Adi Kori Shamaradulaya Sanjaya Mukanda Vasu Goshadigaya Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Goshadigaya Shankha Bhaje Gantha Bhaje Bhaje Karatara Shankha Bhaje Gantha Bhaje Bhaje Karatara Bhaje Karatara Madhurya Mridanga Bhaje Paramarasana Madhurya Mridanga Bhaje Paramarasana Bahu Koti Chandrajini Vadana Ujhala Bahu Koti Chandrajini Vadana Ujhala Galadeshi Banamala Kore Chalamala Galadeshi Banamala Kore Chalamala Shiva Shuka Narada Preme Gadagata Narada Shiva Shuka Narada Preme Gadagata Preme Gadagata Bhakati Vinoda Deke Gaurara Sampada Bhakati Vinoda Deke Gaurara Sampada Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandre Ado Tikashobha Ado Tikashobha Jana Vitata Bhane Jagamana Lopa Gaurange Arotik Soba Jaga Janamana Loba Gaurange Arotik Soba Jaga Janamana Loba Jaga Janamana Loba Jaga Janamana Loba Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Vitar Gaur Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram. Oh, Kodani Tai, Maya Poshashi. Kodani Tai, Maya Poshashi. Oh, Kodani Tai, Kodani Tai. Kodani Tai, Kodani Tai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bala 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 bala. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bala 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 bala. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bala 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 bala. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. There's no room. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama. Whoa, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Wow, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bala, 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 bala. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Haribo, 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 Haribo. Nitai Haribo, 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 Haribo. Yo, Kodani Tai, Kodani Tai, Kodani Tai, Kodani Tai. Jaya Kodani Tai, Maya Poshachi, Kodani Tai, Maya Poshachi. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Hey, oh, Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Go, Premanandi. Ki Nityananda Ram Ki. I Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Pariraj Acharya Ashtatara Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Kodi Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Shri Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Prem Sikoshi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinav Shama Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Gangamai Jamunamai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Shri Brihad Madanga Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanandi Haribo. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Nityananda Ram Ki Jai.
Namaste Narasingaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Praladadayane.
Praladadadayane.
Hiranyakashipur Vakshaha.
Hiranyakashipu Vakshaha.
Shila Tankana Kalaye.
Shila Tankana Kalaye.
Rito Nisingha Parato Nisingho.
Vito Nisingha Parato Nisingha.
Yato Yato Yamitato Nisingha.
Yato Yato Yamitato Nisingha.
Mahe Nisingho Ridaye Nisingho.
Mahe Nisingho Ridaye Nisingho.
Nisingamadim Sharanam Prapade.
Nisingamadim Sharanam Prapade.
Avakara Kamala Varina Kama Buddha Shringam. Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanubringam. Isha Badrita Nada Harirupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tavakara Kamala Varina Kama Buddha Shringam.
Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam. Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare.
Jaya Nrsimha-Dev, Jaya Nrsimha-Dev, Nrsimha-Dev, Jaya Nrsimha-Dev.
Yo Nrsimha-Dev, 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 Nrsimha-Dev.
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj.
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj.
Shri Nrsimha-Dev Bhagavan ki Jai,
Jai.
Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai,
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Haribo. Jai.
Hare Krishna. So, thanks everyone for coming along, taking part in this lovely festival. I'd like to remind everybody that Dilip has opened the shop and there's lots of nice new stock there. So, just a few announcements. We'd like to, first of all, thank Pradyumna for sponsoring. Pradyumna from San Diego, who was here last year for a few months. He's coming back again, hopefully before Gaur Purnima. He sponsored the new outfit, which you've seen today, and my wife, Karan Sindhu, made the outfit. And then we'd like to thank the cooks, which would have been Vrinda from Newcastle, Ramai, Jagannath Priya, Hoaxja as well. Anyone else? Ishan? And anyone else we missed? Rupeshwari and Prema Vitamaji. And we'd like to thank Paddy's missus and the kids for making the wonderful garlands. Thanks everyone for their donations. Adikavi for doing the promotion for the festival. Chagu for doing the program. All the youngsters who took part in the dance. Sriram Free's talk. And the bhajans by Vaidehi, Avani and Arohi. And if we missed anybody out, then we thank you as well. You know who you are, if I forgot you. So thanks everyone for taking part and for all your contribution and whatever. And the best donation you can do is to make advancement in Krishna consciousness, take initiation and come here and help serve, either at weekends or any day. So we'd just like to also invite everyone for Gaur Purnima, which will be 4 weeks today. The festival will be 4 weeks today. The actual Gaur Purnima festival is 2 days after that, on the 7th. But the 5th of March, we'll have a festival here in the temple for everybody. So watch this space. And we can invite everyone now to take prasad. Shri Tulsinath Maharaj ki, Shri Shalagram Shilas ki, Shri Mati Vrinda Devi ki, Shri Nityananda Ram ki, Iskon Guru Vrinda ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande Haribo.